You rarely get a day off or a weekend off of not playing. I doubt you took time off. But how did you spend your weekend after the Thursday night win?
Well, we come in Friday and did our normal things with the grading, the film, and evaluate, watch film at Clemson. Saturday we went back to we had practice. We had a practice and then got home late Saturday night. So it was a normal work week for us, and then come back in on Sunday, or the normal day we would on Sunday, and ready for Monday. So it was working for us.
Yeah, I feel like you're not a guy just to sit around with some popcorn and watching television. But did you catch anything, or you focused on your team and nobody else?
Late night when I got back, we caught a little bit of the Oregon-Auburn. But during the day, I just heard scores and heard things that were going on, but didn't get to see much at all. We were either watching film or in practice or evaluating all that.
We got you covered there, Coach. We're watching all those upsets from around the country. Well, really, really glad to have you on. And I want to ask you about, before we get to this weekend's game, it just seemed like you had such a great year last year, double digits, high ranking. But friends of mine have told me that a lot of folks out there just never could quite figure out how the A&M Clemson game got away.
Yeah, well, I think I think our kids had to realize that you were capable of playing with those teams. And I think we did. And then once we got into it, it was a heck of a game. And we had plenty of opportunities in the game. But, part of winning is learning how to win and taking advantage of opportunities and relaxing in those moments. And I think that's something we learned as the season went on. And it was a great, I hate to say a loss was a confidence builder, but it was at that time. But it was also a great learning experience about how you have to finish in those games.
And so many people have said, hey, that Clemson team may be the greatest of all time. This year's team starts off number one. You've been there. You've won national championships. You've been part of them. You know that nothing is impossible, but what is the task for your club heading to South Carolina this weekend?
Well, I think first and foremost, when you're playing at the level they're playing at, you're good in all three phases. So we have to be good in all three phases and make the plays. And listen, they're going to make plays in the game. We have to make plays. We can't let those things bother us. We got to rebound. We got to be ready to compete. Offensively, they're so dynamic and they can run the football. Trevor and those receivers, Ross and everybody. T. Higgins, that whole crew of guys. They just make so many plays down the field, even when they're covered. In those situations, you have to be aware of that. Their offensive line's very good. Tight ends. Etnine, like I say, he can just run that football, and he's dynamic defensively. Even though they lost those D linemen, these guys look the same. The linebackers are active, secondary can cover. Brent Venables does a tremendous job with those guys on defense and special teams. That's why you got great returners and kickers. So we have to play a complete game. It's not a secret of how you got to go play, and you got to play on the road. You're going to have to overcome adversity, and you're going to have to be ready to compete. And when you get an opportunity, you have to relax and make it.
Coach, let me ask you about Trevor. You've coached some great quarterbacks.
Yes.
That is your specialty, of course. How do you describe him? How do you evaluate what we've seen from him so far?
Everyone awes at the physical skills. And, he can throw the football. He's big, he's rangy, but, man, he's so accurate. He makes decisions, and he has that it factor to me. He has that poise, that composure, and how to just speed it up and slow it down when you have to. And people don't understand. Usually guys that age don't have that. It's usually always going real fast, or I'm just not quick enough to do it and overcome. He doesn't. And then on top of the thing that people don't talk about him, in my opinion, his athleticism. He can keep plays alive with his feet, but he can also scramble and make yards. And he's very big, which allows him to take punishment too. So, he's got every tool possible. He's a great young man. It seems like he's leading that team. He seems very confident but not arrogant, in a very humble way. And I think he's one of the great players in all of college football.
Coach, you know that position all too well. I'm interested in not so much him, but everywhere around this country. We saw it at Auburn Saturday night. These raw freshmen playing the position. When you played, it didn't seem possible. But why is it possible today?
Well, I think two things. I think all the 7-on-7 things are out there, but I think the vast amount of information that you can gain now because of the internet, TV, film. These kids are exposed to so much more at an earlier age, and everything. Every aspect of life. Kids are smarter now. They're learning at an earlier age, all those things. And quarterbacks are too. And then you got guys out there training them. They're able to get all the information. We didn't know any information when we were playing ball, except we were throwing at what your coach told you. These guys can go to camps. They're in, like I say, they have the opening. They have the Adidas 5-star. These guys, they're moving around at different 7-on-7 tournaments. Different guys coach them. They have quarterback coaches. The vast amount of information to these guys is making them much more mature at an earlier age. And then I think in general, people were maturing at an earlier age because of the information at their fingertips from a young time. And then we're understanding we got workout coaches, we got weight coaches, then we're going to get a special trainer. I mean, so all those things are allowing these kids to mature, and they're getting put in these situations and they're succeeding.
And the final point there, how do they overcome, however, the pressure of the moment, or do they even feel that?
They do. There's no doubt they do. That's the thing that separates the guys that are having success and don't. I mean, like I said with Trevor, the guys that can speed it up and slow it down when they have to and stay in control of their emotions and not let it overwhelm them. And I think a lot of that has to come from where your background's from and how much you've been exposed to at this age, and how, because think about this, when we traveled, the first college game I ever went to is the first time you ever traveled anywhere and played. These kids are traveling at 9, 10 years old playing baseball in 5 states away, or flag football 3 states away. So all that part of it is really making them mature faster, but at the end of the day, you still have to go in there and control your emotions and be able to function in a big-time environment, and that's, each individual's different.
We spent a lot of time talking about the Clemson quarterback. You got a pretty good one of your own. Tell us the progression of Kellen Mond.
I tell you what I love about him. The questions we have, the conversations we have, he totally understands what we're doing and why we're doing it. And that's allowing him now to, like when he felt pressure in the games, he can get to his outlets, he can get to his one-on-ones, he can attack different people in a play because of how the coverage is, or understands why the matchup is and how he's going to get a one-on-one. And, he's really fun to coach. He's a tremendous leader. He's a tough guy, but he's also a relentless worker about not just on the field, but why things are happening, which allows him to, as I say, the game to slow down, because mentally he gets what he's trying to do, and he's a selfless player. It's not about him. He's a leader, and I'm having a blast coaching him. He's really fun to coach.
We're so glad you're watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports and analysis, download the ESPN app. And for live streaming sports and premium content, make sure you subscribe to ESPN Plus. We'll see you there.